Marieke, welcome. Really glad to have you here. Before we get into anything about the shift mirror, how are you arriving here this afternoon and what kind of day has it been so far?
It has been hot,
Yes.
and I have been ill, so I'm not in my good version today. So, but I hope that I can speak my thoughts clearly.
Yeah,
So,
let's give it a shot. So, in your own words, I was really curious to know like how would you describe the shift mirror?
it's difficult in this stage for me because I didn't go through all the phases, didn't go through the framework, but I was very interested in the different steps because Um, every change, every life-changing event has different steps, and it depends on which framework you use. So for me, it was very interesting to do it for myself because recently I had a big shift in my life, starting up a new company, becoming 40. So for me, it was really an opportunity to do this.
hmm Do you think you can describe your own system of like let's say the alternative to the shift mirror? Like
Hmm.
how do you name things or how did you describe it to
Yeah.
yourself before? What was your language?
I have a specific one, Sander, and it's more visual.
Okay.
And it's a vision of a bridge hanging above a river, and you're on the one side, and you have to go to the other side, but there is a bridge, and there is a lot of fog.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And there is a lot of fog, and you know you have to cross over. You know you have to do it, but you don't see the other side yet. And more that you advance, you can see silhouettes, you can see shadows, you can see something. You're not sure yet what it is, but you see something. That's of course if you move along the bridge, but if you do the first steps, you don't see anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you know you have to cross over because you know your journey is ending on the other is beginning on the other side. You have to cross over, but you don't see nothing yet. That's how I vision my shift.
It's kind of like a very visual description of fear.
Yeah,
Interesting. Do you also worry about holes in the bridge?
yeah. Holes in the bridge, and that at some point that you cannot see anything,
Yeah.
nothing. You cannot imagine fog in the bridge. You don't know. Am I in the middle? How much steps do I have to take till I am on the other side?
Right.
And that's a very, mm, that's a very. I think a lot of people recognize that fear, that feeling,
Or
that
at least
place.
stepping outside of the comfort zone,
Yeah,
which is literally in your case stepping out onto the
yeah,
bridge, which is
yeah,
your comfort zone.
yeah, yeah,
You're leaving the comfort zone is side A, and
yeah.
the uncomfortable is or the unknown
Always
is side B,
side B.
and then in
Yeah,
between is moving further and further away from your comfort zone.
that's it. But the thing is with bridges is that at some point you don't see anything,
Hmm
and you don't know how much how much steps do I have to take. I'm going back because I know where I'm coming from,
Yeah.
but you know that's not an option. So it takes a lot of courage
And
to step forward.
do you have someone on the bridge that is sometimes holding your hand and
Hmm.
helping you out?
That's a good question, Sander. That's a good question. Sometimes I think people hear echoes and some noises, but hmm, I think we talked about it last week, I think, about intuition. And I think that's the only thing that can guide you. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
But if you have a lot of noise in your head, if you have a lot of noise coming from stress, trauma, fear, then you won't step forward and you won't hear your inner voice.
What is the difference between noise and clarity? Or what is the bridge in between noise and clarity?
I don't know. I think noise reminds you of the version of your old self. And I think people mistaken that if you hear noise, sometimes it's just a calling of your old self just to come back. And people think, oh yeah, that's my inner voice, and that's not the right path to go.
Mm-hmm.
I am sure, and I'm really, how can I say it? I'm really convinced that the things that calls you out of your comfort zone and make you feel a better version of yourself is a real voice that guides you. But people mistake their inner voice. So I think the clarity comes from the voices who
Dare I say the ones that were the most quiet, but somehow because the way that I perceive um, this sort of inner compass or
Mhm,
this inner
mhm,
inner voice
mhm,
is usually like after something that goes completely wrong, then I think to myself, like why did it go wrong
mhm,
and what happened? And
mhm.
then I remember all of a sudden like, oh, I kind of knew
Yeah,
before I started that I
yeah,
shouldn't take the direction, but I did
yeah,
it anyway
yeah,
because I used my head instead of my heart.
yeah,
And that little voice is not screaming at you. It's just there, like whispering,
yeah,
"Hey, you should probably do that," you
yeah.
know? And then once you go through a few bad experiences, you start to realize that the voice is always right.
But I think some of the voice was always there in the beginning.
I think so too, but it's about learning to listen to it.
Mm, some,
And
yeah.
that's because, when you're on that bridge and, the fog and you
Mhm,
don't see
mhm,
anything and you have no one holding your
mhm,
hand, then what do you listen to?
mhm, mhm.
And I would say it's that little voice that
Yeah,
knows, and you have to be able to recognize it,
yeah,
I think.
yeah. And I think that's a thing that a lot of people get lost in their lives, especially we discussed it a few minutes ago. I think from the age of I'm not an expert, but I think from the age of 25, a lot of people get lost. I don't know why, but I think people have they have the urge to manifest themselves through jobs, through, I don't know, having a family, children, marriage, buying houses. There is something, an urge that people need to manifest themselves in a way that doesn't align with who they really are. And the thing is with people are searching sometimes in their midlife shift or midlife crisis, oh, who am I really? And that's not that hard because you were born pure. You were
Hmm.
born with the person that you are.
So,
There has
yeah,
been
yeah.
layers and layers on top of that. You have to make sure that you push down or you break down all that layer, all those different layers to find yourself again. And I think people make it very difficult for themselves to look for
Yeah.
themselves.
I'm not sure if they make it difficult. I keep going back to the language that they use, and the thing
Yeah.
that you're describing. I would see it as like you have an external narrative, an external story,
Mm-hmm.
and you have an internal story.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
often when you listen to the external story, which is kind of like get a nice car, buy a
Yeah.
house, get some kids,
Yeah.
then you will be happy.
Yeah.
And the thing is that is an outside
Yeah.
narrative. Now, if you're lucky and that is your inside narrative, it will align and you will be
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
And by the way, nobody's always forever happy.
No.
It comes
No.
in
No.
waves,
Yep.
just like the ocean.
Yep.
Sometimes if you're a surfer, sometimes there's good waves, sometimes
Yep.
no.
Yep.
It's just a little bit how life goes. But I
Yep.
think being able to already, before you even start talking about the shift mirror,
Mm-hmm.
which is the different phases, that
Yep.
someone can go through in a
Yeah.
shift. So walking over that bridge,
Yeah.
it's important to know that who is telling you to walk over the
Yeah.
bridge. Is it
Mm-hmm.
you
Yep.
or is it somebody from
Yep.
the outside?
Yep. Yep.
And I think that if somebody from the outside tells you to cross the bridge and you finally made it, you've written the wrong story.
Mm.
And that is horrible because if you walk the bridge and you found all, the difficulties to cross it, and then only to find out you have to cross a new bridge.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's kind of how sometimes people finally get forced to look at themselves really. And that's actually when the really hard work starts, and it can be extremely scary.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. There's something very special going on between the ages of 25 and 55 that people need in a very weird way. They have very much the urge to manifest themselves in a way that's not aligned. I think sometimes that's what they truly want.
Is that what happened to you at 25?
Is
that why you use that reference, or?
I think so. I think I just maybe and not that much. I was always a rebel. Getting kids, starting a family wasn't much my thing. I loved working. I loved working with people. But when you're 25 and you're searching your way, and you're a bit insecure, then it's very easy to take the wrong bridge and to manifest yourself in things that's not truly aligned with your values, I think. And it's a good thing that you think about it really, that you have to be critical about every bridge. And I'm so very thankful that I'm very critical, and that every bridge that I have to cross over, I'm very critical.
Okay.
So that's my luck. But there are a lot of people who are not that critical.
Yeah, but maybe it takes a few bridges to get critical.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the difference between 25 and 35.
Yeah.
And for me also personally, like I only worked like a 9 to 5 for a little bit.
Yeah.
And when you don't do that anymore, and you have to make more choices for yourself, you know, as an entrepreneur, you said it earlier as well in a private conversation, that every entrepreneur makes a shift, and that's how they start their business.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when people kind of keep going in circles, but not the full, you know, circle of what you know, what I call now the anatomy of a shift, then you keep kind of coming back to the start, but with not a new perspective. And my hope with this framework is that people will come back to the same questions, but with a different perspective. It's kind of like a spiral that goes upwards. You come back to the same place, but you've evolved, you've changed into something that is more aligned to who you are inside.
Okay.
Lovely. Let's move on with Claude's questions now.
A lot of questions, Sander.
On
a Tuesday morning.
Yeah, it's crazy, but I'm really grateful you're here today.
Very deep.
Yeah, like maybe we can frame it also a little bit more, but you arrived here today. You haven't done the full framework yet.
No.
We have had a few conversations. You've also were here in the studio with a different company to come here and talk about Club Compagnon.
Yes.
Which maybe you can say a few things about.
Yes. I never had to pitch my company in English, Club Compagnon.
You're welcome. This is the first time.
Putting it very clearly, I organize offline dinners, blind dinners for people who are looking for new friends. It's always centered around a specific theme, so that people can connect about very specific topics.
And recently you chose a topic that really, you know, was in line with what I'm doing, which is, what was it, the shift of the 40s?
40-something, yes. So
how did you find like this topic, and why did you want to talk about it?
Because 40 plus is literally in the middle. It's
of someone's life, yeah.
It's the middle. And when I became 40, it wasn't that much of an issue, but I was thinking about this is the half. I'm in the half. So of course you have to make sure that what am I going to do the next 40 years? What you have so many questions. So it was a very specific topic that I want to discuss in Club Compagnon. I'm very excited, by the way, because it's Thursday.
Oh, cool.
It's Thursday. It's not over yet, so it's Thursday. But there are a lot of people who they make up their check now. Huh? They're looking back at what am I going to do with all the knowledge and the experience that I've got the past 40 years, and what am I going to take with me, and what not, because that's what I said a few minutes ago. A lot of people live their life in the expectations of others, of companies, of KPIs of other people. So they're not aligned with their own values. And I think it's very important that you live the next 40 years more aligned with your values, because we got lost. We get very much lost in the first 40 years of our lives due to children, profession, people, expectations from society. So I think it's a very interesting number, being 40.
Definitely. I think maybe it's a nice curveball that life throws at you. Like, this is your second chance. Like, if you, they talk about the midlife crisis, but I think it's exactly what you're saying. I think that if you do decide to cross the bridges that align with you, maybe 40 will not be that as hard as some other people, and the worst thing is when people buy stuff instead of figuring out stuff at 40, like buying a new car or whatever, it's not going
mistress.
And so, and then they will find themselves in a new chunk of life a couple 10, 20 years later, thinking like, I fucked that circle up as well. And my ultimate purpose here is to have you not fuck it up. Or at least you can fuck up, but learn from it, as quickly as possible, so you can gift yourself the life that you want ultimately deep inside, and that you have no regrets when the time is too late to change something about it.
And I think that a lot of people are unhappy because they don't go through it like very deeply. And I think if people get more critical about being in the midlife shift, a lot of problems would be less bigger, I think.
I think so too, because if you can clearly state where you are in life and what your values are, then you automatically, in my eyes, become better at communicating that also to the outside world. So the shift comes from within and goes outward, and ultimately the people who are closest to you also feel that. Like we could say about someone that we care about, like, they're not doing so well. Like, like we feel that, but the opposite is also true. If someone's doing really well, like, that, maybe don't even have to say much, but you feel it. I think that's something really important. Let me try to go through the questions I actually prepared, because I have some that are a bit more commercial and a bit less
commercial,
loosey-goosey.
But you can ask.
So, what are you hoping the shift mirror gives you at the moment when you're building so many different things at once?
Sander, I say a lot of big things now in this podcast, that you have to be critical about all the life choices, but it's the first time, I think, in my life that I want to document it.
Okay.
And that's a gift for me, because now I want to do it right. I need this to document what I'm going through, and to make sure that I flourish as a person again, and my brand. Because those two are very much aligned, very much. And I think when I have passed a couple of bridges, but I have done it really fast. I'm very impatient also.
You took shortcuts.
Sometimes.
Okay. Who doesn't, right?
Sometimes. And I'm very impatient, Sander.
Okay.
I'm very impatient. And I just want to flow things. I just want to make sure that things flow again very rapidly. And this time I need to go through it because I have to, because my life has drastically changed. And now I want to put the fundament really good. I have to put a right good base on it. And that's what I'm hoping to get if I go through the whole framework. It's a framework. There are a lot of other frameworks, but I think this will help me to get a good base of my new life.
Yeah. Lovely. That's ultimately what it's there for.
Yeah. So I hope it will. It's really a gift to myself, but it's it's also.
Can I correct you and tell me if I'm wrong? But like, is it a gift to your future self?
Yeah.
Because
I need it to build my future self, because my life needs another and a better version, and I feel that I'm going towards it, but it's again, I'm almost at the bank of the river. I can see the silhouettes, I can see buildings, I can see people, but I don't see it clearly yet. I know there is something, and I have to go there to be or to have a better life.
Yeah.
But I need to do it right this time.
Could you like, we have 11 steps in the framework. These are emotional steps. I don't know if you've went through it, but the place you're standing right now on the bridge, can you tell me what you named it before you discovered the framework? And can you tell me now, based on what you've seen in the course, like what you would call it? Where are you on the bridge?
Again, I went through it yesterday. And I think I took a few steps forward again. The last time that we spoke, it was like the shadow. Now it's the shadow entrepreneur, I think. The
ownership.
Shadow ownership. Yeah. I think that's what it is right now.
What is it that you, if I'm allowed to ask, because it may be very personal, like, what is the shadow ownership? Like, what are, like, you have to at some point take responsibility for the things that you were not taking responsibility for before. Is that how you experience this phase on the bridge? And what are you owning now? Like, which parts of yourself can you not ignore anymore?
Yeah, so I have started Club Compagnon. It's not only a business, but it's again, a new, or my old, how can I say it? It's discovering back my old self. But I have one problem. It's a company that aligns greatly with some parts of me that's truly genuine, who is Marieke. Because when I explain it to people, Club Compagnon, everybody says, "Oh yeah, that's Marieke." It's the most beautiful compliment that I can get, but it's not there yet that I can manifest it, that I can take up space for it. Sometimes I'm really scared to take up space for myself, I think, and the company. So it's learning back. It's learning again to take up space. I'm still a bit scared to put myself out there, because it aligns with who I am, and taking up place. So that's my next step. Just being proud of what Club Compagnon is. And of course I'm proud, but really taking up space.
That's interesting, because you had the podcast here a couple of weeks ago, and the guests who came to the podcast were people who actually took part of Club Compagnon, and they were telling about how you took up space there, and you asked a lot of questions, sometimes even unusual questions,
of course,
to get people on board. So you are already taking up space, but in my opinion, based on what I've heard, but I find it really interesting that you're drawing a parallel between branding and between your personal brand or your identity. Because if I'm very curious to find out what Club Compagnon will look like once you have crossed that bridge. It will be, and it's crazy because you start it and you do it, and it feels like perhaps what you're doing is not. You have it. It exists already. You have a logo and everything, but maybe it doesn't feel palpable yet. It doesn't feel like you own it yet. And perhaps this is a feeling that a lot of startups or new entrepreneurs will feel.
Yeah, I know. It's very. A lot of people recognize their issues with mine issues from taking up space with their brand because it aligns also with you as a person. And if your brand aligns very much with your values,
feels natural.
And then it's sometimes very hard to take up space. And some people don't have a problem with taking space. But some people have.
How are you communicating your brand? Because last time you told me you were not so much on social media yet, and maybe that's part of the reason. Like if you are unsure about yourself and your values, like from which angle are you communicating your business? Are you communicating from that same space? Like are you communicating from the old identity, the one where you're standing on the A side of the bridge?
I think so.
And
I think so.
Does it feel sometimes unaligned to which you then feel confused
and
about how to communicate on social media?
Yeah, and that's the thing now that I feel like I'm not there yet. So the branding that I do with Club Compagnon, it's okay, but they don't see me a lot. And I have to make sure that they say me a lot, that I have to be my authentic self. And I think I have to shed some layers to do that. So it's still a process for me to get there. But I think it's very important. And in the beginning, because now it's almost a year ago, in the beginning, I was really scared to do that. I was hiding in stock photos, and it's very safe for me, but you have to step forward because that's you, that's your brand, and it's so much aligned with who I am. People connect Club Compagnon with Marieke. So I have to make sure that I do also that kind of shadow work still for myself, because it has to do with myself. But I have to cross the bridge.
What made you decide to start communicating more towards the outside world? Because right now you've been here in the studio a few times. One time it was kind of to introduce the podcast, then a couple more sessions to do the podcast. You've talked already for a few hours. You've decided to come again today, and you will be coming on the full Firestarters podcast. And there will be a lot of snippets from you online. So you have regardless of the fact that you haven't arrived yet, you're already making steps, and you're already kind of faking it until you make it, if I'm allowed to call it that way. It's not really that, but you're already making the move from a personal sort of thinking environment towards translating it to a public voice. What was for you the trigger to finally start doing that?
It's always the same. If you're surrounded by good people, then you will take a step. And that's also the reason why I started Club Compagnon, because people need a good environment to cross that bridge.
Beautiful.
If I wasn't introduced to you, if I wasn't introduced to the praters, Pieter, Jan, Koen, I've made so much new friends. And you know my opinion about friends, you heard it in the podcast, because I think it's very important that you have a good crew, because they can make sure that you become a better version of yourself. And you need sometimes a new crew if you cross a new bridge. And that's what they made me do it.
It's beautiful because it completely aligns with what I'm trying to do. Is the shift mirror is really there more for someone who doesn't have friends to take them, or to stand at the right bridge, and to encourage them. You can cross it, you can do it. And if you need some help along the way, we will be there, but we won't tell you what you want to hear. We will tell you what you need to hear.
Of course.
And so
and you all do that very good and very well. So I'm very grateful that I have so much new friends. But it's also Sander, that you have to make sure that you also leave some people behind sometimes, because otherwise you cannot take 20 people across a bridge. That's not their story. So sometimes it's, I already said it to you, sometimes worrying of crossing over a bridge is also mourning, saying goodbye, breaking with perception of yourself, of with people, or with places. But that's also necessary, because sometimes we don't cross the bridge because we just want to go back. But that's not aligned with our new self.
But it's interesting when you talk about bringing the friends across the bridge, because it's never, I'm not really sure that anyone is really taking your journey or your bridge, but it's maybe the people standing on the sides, or encouraging you. But some people are so afraid of the bridge you're crossing that they will tell you not to cross it out of their own fear.
I know.
And that is kind of where I want to pick into what you're saying. Like the friends are not crossing the bridge, but they're cheering you on from the side.
Yeah.
And they're doing their own bridges, that they have to cross.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful if it happens in parallel. Like you're walking your bridge and you look over to the fog and you see another guy who's also crossing in the fog. Like, hey! And he's like, I'm suffering too.
That's it. Yeah. Because it's your own journey. Of course, it's your own journey. But a lot of people project their fears onto you, on you.
And then it's up to you to decide or to notice it.
Yeah.
So the whole thing about the framework is also about awareness. How aware are you of yourself, and how aware are you of the people around you, and how aware are they of what you're going through. And I can tell you, there's this quote in Flemish which is like, hoge bomen vangen het meeste wind.
Vangen veel wind.
The tallest trees get the most wind. And the tallest trees are also the loneliest tops. And so sometimes when I going through my journey, I wish that there was someone there to help me and to guide me and to hold my hand. And the part of the shadow ownership is accepting it's not if it isn't, In my case, it was like that. It's like accepting that I can keep saying like, oh, I wish I had someone to hold my hand. Oh, I wish I had a mentor. I wish I had a teacher,
Or guidance.
But you can keep saying that as long as they don't show up from the external world. You can keep in that phase and you will never grow. So accepting that it's not so made me a different person, but it does change you along the way to accept that maybe there is no one to help you. And I think that is why the most important reason why I created the shift mirror is to kind of, when you want to take responsibility, I'm here, or I'm not here. The framework can show you, what has been, what is, and what is coming, and it gives you the language, to go through it. I can see that it's really affecting you. You're becoming a bit emotional. How come?
Yeah, because I can see the other side, but I'm not there yet. I'm just impatient sometimes also.
So maybe is that then part of the shadow that you're going through? Is that why are you so impatient? And what is this crazy drive that you have that keeps pushing you forward without you? Why does it need to go so fast? What happened to little Marieke what in their external worlds that made her that way?
Yeah, because I think I lost so much time.
You think you're okay, so you're mourning the loss
I
of,
think I've
time.
lost so much time. Yeah, I think that's the main. I think I lost so much time, and I'm always counting my days. Always counting my days. So okay, now
Until what?
till I die.
And did you choose like a end
A
end
fictional
date?
date.
What's the fictional date? I already chose 88. I would be happy with 88.
Yeah, yeah.
I was born in 88, and that's why
No,
88. It's
I
stupid, huh?
have
But
I have 89.
89, okay. That's, well, that sounds reasonable.
89.
Yeah.
Yeah, 89. So I look at my agenda and the calendar. So I think I've lost a lot of time, but it's also in my character. I'm a very
Are
I'm
you
a
hard on yourself?
yeah, but I'm also very mm, result focused. I think it's in my personality. I'm very much driven. I love to have KPIs for myself.
Okay.
So I'm very much driven, yeah, it's also something that I need in my. I do a lot of sports, so it's also something in my sport that keeps me going. I need timelines. I need milestones. I need deliverables, so that I'm sure that I'm working on something.
Who is telling you that you need that, or which version of Marieke is telling you that you need that? Because you just said you want to build the foundation,
Yeah,
you know, and so
yeah,
you understand the foundation
yeah,
takes more time. So you're
yeah,
like, I'm really digging into now, like
yeah.
what it is that your issue is.
Because if I don't have that, I get lost in philosophy and thinking and getting lost in my head, Sander. And then I'll do this. I have this kind of conversation 8 hours a day in my head, and I don't move. I will get up in my head. So I have to make sure that I have some perspective and that I have to deliver something for myself, because otherwise I get on my head.
So that makes me re-ask kind of the question I asked you earlier, which is like, from the different steps of the framework, like you had your visual language, and now I decided to name it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
But basically, what I named is something that already exists within people. It's just the way that I decided to label it. So you've seen these different steps. Has
Yep.
it helped you now to gain a little bit more clarity
Yeah,
about
because
how you're looking at this phase in your life?
because I know it's because it gives perspective and it gives an endpoint, and you know that you have to evolve towards that. So I'm very much looking forward to the next two phases, because that's when I can get my expression in. So like expression, so clearly telling who I am, which values I stand for, what I want to do. So I'm really looking forward to that phase, but I'm still phase ahead. So I'm really looking forward to it, that I can speak more clearly and expect more clearly what I want, what I need, and especially with Club Compagnon. And I know that it will help me so much, but I know also it gives me now it gives me perspective where I need to land.
Yeah.
And that's very important for me, that it's nothing, it's very, I need to know that everything shall pass. So it's not for always that I'm in this phase. I'm just heading to something new. But I feel it's more in your framework. It's more in like fully express and embody myself and also the brand. So I'm looking forward to that.
Lovely. Something that I have noticed is so these 11 different phases, they are emotional kind of stages that you feel. So that's kind of like the backbone of it. And I've noticed that not everybody moves exactly along the same steps in the same order, but they do feel the different emotional loads or the different weight of the emotions, sometimes in a different order, and sometimes at
Different
two at the same time.
Also, yeah.
So for example, me, I'm moving now slowly towards alignment, but I have a lot of friction because I'm trying to do this course. I've never taught anyone anything. I think maybe in my conversations I kind of already do subconsciously, but this is me bringing it out to the outside world, and there's an enormous amount of friction in order for me to make this work, and it's at many different levels. So something I noticed with myself is like, and that's why I also created it, by the way, is that now I have a framework for myself, because I'm also going through these phases. And so knowing that it's at the same time kind of going from expression to alignment with like a side order of friction. It's interesting to notice how it's affected or how my journey is going as well.
Yeah, and sometimes make sure also that a lot of people have a different speed. Some phases take so long. For example, awareness, it takes a long time that you sometimes think about the situation where you're in. Sometimes people need years.
Yeah, something that I've noticed is because I'm also writing a book, by the way.
Oh, someone didn't know
it's
that.
called the theory of relative narrativity. And in the first notes I'm talking about gravitas. So like when you have certain instances in your life, so the pre-awareness phase, like usually something that pulls or bends your story is something horrible that happens. Not always, but often it is. For example, my grandfather just died this weekend. Yeah. This is something that our whole family will be gravitate around in this period. Like things will change within because it's something so big and undeniable that you have to go through that emotional phase.
Yeah.
So I think that you are right about the amount of years that sometimes it takes, because it's much more comfortable to stay where you're at often than to face, the bridge with the fog. And then all of a sudden, imagine that you're standing in front of that bridge, but it explodes.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you're thinking about that bridge that could potentially be crossed, but now you can't even cross anymore because it just exploded. And so then what do you do then? Like that's the kind of situation or the feeling situation that's created right before awareness. I think it's like, baff, something has changed.
Yeah.
All of a sudden a click has been made, and then you become aware.
Yeah.
Because you don't have any other choice, to not become aware.
That's it happens a lot with sudden life events. People died, people getting sick, losing your job, all those things. Yeah, sudden life events are really invasive.
Yes.
So you have to.
Because it's like a gravity hole.
Yeah.
It just sucks everything towards that. It becomes the most powerful anchor in your life, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, because it makes things on one split second very clear.
Yes. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, that's exactly like an epiphany or something.
That's what gravitas is. It makes everything very clear. Yeah.
It's lovely. I think we went through everything I wanted to ask without reading my questions.
Do you have everything?
I
see it in your eyes that you have one question. No, you have.
I've here a few that are much more like commercially based. Let's see.
Because you have to make sure. Ja, sorry, je moet ook zien dat je daarna nog voor en na hebt, hè? Dat je voor en na.
Ja, maar je zit erin, dus het is voor. It's niet voor en na. Het is right now you're in the shift.
Okay.
And afterwards, when we have the podcast, maybe you will have evolved a little bit.
Okay.
You will have used the framework because we cannot talk about it yet. Like there's a master prompt.
Expression in the face of expression and alignment.
Yeah, I'm really curious to ask you about like the kind of the thing that's behind the framework, which is this kind of AI environment, which basically functions as the mirror function of it is basically pattern recognition. So you take a bunch of texts and pieces of information about you feed them to an AI environment, and then it can notice like how you've been talking and how you were talking about yourself now, how you're talking about yourself 10 years ago. It can see, it can analyze your different emotional phases, and it can help you actually situate where you are, because, the whole podcast is basically a different version of the shift mirror. So that's how I came on the framework in the first place. People sat down here in the studio and they tell me kind of like, I asked them like, how is your past, how is your present, and how is your future? And I have them situate themselves vaguely within a time frame. And after doing that a lot, then, I started discovering these kind of emotional phases. So I was able to ask more precise questions. And ultimately, people sometimes said like, wow, this podcast felt like therapy. But, a podcast, it takes, weeks of preparation. It takes a lot of time sitting here. It takes a lot of time editing, and I can only help so many people. And, I'm a little bit of a wereldverbeteraar. So I'm thinking like, how can I do what I'm doing here at large scale? It's also a business strategy, of course. How can I scale what I'm doing? And the answer is to kind of transform what has been happening here into a computer environment. And now with the help of AI, it takes a bunch of sort of things that I know and kind of puts it in a neat little package. So that is kind of the thing we can talk about after you've done it.
So I'm very curious. So
Me too. We'll
Sander, when I was in the middle of the fog, the only friend I had was Google Gemini.
Really? So you used the AI as a personal companion?
Yeah.
And what did it tell you? Did it help you in certain ways?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's very scary because you get very much
emotionally attached. Interesting.
Because it was with the startup of Club Compagnon, and the only input that I had on that moment was Google Gemini. Emotional, business wise, commercial, marketing wise.
For me, it was ChatGPT. But I didn't really talk to it. Like I didn't need like a companion. But maybe I'm programmed a little bit different than you. I mean, most of us are programmed differently. And the way I use the AI is very like analytical. Like I will say thank you sometimes, but I won't call him buddy or anything. I'll just go straight to the point. Like, okay, today we're doing this. Ba 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 ba. And then and then I look for feedback. But the way I use it is like I continue to ask questions and to make it better. Well, that sometimes I've interviewed people here also about AI, and not everyone goes so deep into the how do you call it, wormhole. And so it has helped me, but it kept inventing stuff that wasn't really me. And it like what I did in the beginning of the season of the Firestarters podcast is I had Future Sander here. I don't know if you saw Future Sander. It was super dull. And then I just tried to program ChatGPT to copy me like that, how I was, but with the imagination of the future. And this didn't work because the gap it was trying to fill between the copy of me plus like making him think, that he's years ahead. He had to invent the years ahead. And it was creating like wishful thinking or something, or it was creating its own vision, which didn't work. So I kind of abandoned Future Sander, but also not, because, I'm still working on Future Sander, but instead of trying to have AI solve my future, I'm actually trying to have it give me language so I can move towards my future with more confidence. And that's how, this Future Sander is still here, but not in the studio anymore. No. It's now sitting in the garage.
I saw him.
Poor Sander.
Poor Sander. No. But make sure, Sander, that I heard it a lot of entrepreneurs who start, and also now, that the only companion that they have is Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, on so many levels. And I saw a post recently about an entrepreneur. She said it takes a village to raise children. It takes a village to raise a brand, a company. So where are our villages? We don't have any villages left. Now it's just ChatGPT. We don't have people anymore. But you have to make sure that everything that you do, it takes a village. But we don't have villages.
And that's where Club Compagnon
yes, of course
comes into the picture.
Yes, of course,
because I talked about this kind of mirror feeling. Ultimately, my idea is that I can help you online, but the real conversations happen here. We've talked to each other a few times now, and I could never do that with my future Sander. The companion I invented. It's never going to be a replacement. My framework or just using the AI LLMs as they are, it will never be a replacement. It can only fill the gaps we unfortunately now find ourselves in with our current society, which is kind of like alienation of your, we're losing our tribe. And this is perhaps a subject that you will take care of. So perhaps in the future there will be some interesting combinations for both of our businesses.
It's just, we need to make sure that we belong again to our tribe, and make sure that you have the right tribe. Yeah, I think that's a big challenge.